like a short presentation, and let's see. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect.
I assume everyone can.
Okay, so welcome to the Shopify Accelerate Rural North Carolina meeting, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to present to you guys. I'm gonna just go through the presentation, couple pages first to see what we're gonna be presenting today, and then I'll talk a little bit about myself and how I got here. Plus, I will talk, of course, about Shopify and everything about Shopify. And if you guys have any questions at any point or any time, please feel free to ask me. That will be better. So
Mo, just so you know, I have you as co-host, so you should be able to have all the controls as far as if chats come up or questions or whatever. I'll also keep my eyes peeled.
Okay, that sounds good. Got it. Okay, so just want to let you know also that this presentation is being recorded. If you want to post or put anything on social media, we would appreciate if you can also advertise to us. You can use the hashtag Shopify_Webinopoly just in case. My name is Mo Farhat. I am originally Lebanese from Lebanon in the Middle East. I came to the United States in 2009 to get my master's degree, MBA degree from University of Houston. I got my MBA and I got married, and here I am. I'm still in Houston. I have master's in software engineering and an MBA degree, and I got into the e-commerce as soon as 2012. Before I came to the United States, I worked with several companies. I worked with a company called Amadeus. It's one of the 3 reservation systems in the world. It's based in France. I lived there for 3 years. And then afterwards, I came here, as I said, in 2009 to finish my MBA degree. I have almost about 14 or 15 years of experience in coding. I've probably built over 7,000 websites in my career. Maybe 5,000 of them are e-commerce based. Some of them are for MBA teams. Some of them are like, let's say for Leather Up. It's a $100 million company, Wine Chateau, Planting Tree. These are all huge e-commerce businesses. And when we started the e-commerce development, we started with WooCommerce, Magento, because back in 2012, nobody has known Shopify or even heard about Shopify. Shopify started to pick up in 2015-ish, 2016, after the dropshipping boom start to get known in the marketplace, and that's where we started shifting most of our company's operation to building Shopify websites. And right now we have about 80 to 85% of our work is built on Shopify and building apps on Shopify and designing themes on Shopify. So we have a very extensive experience about everything Shopify and their ecosystem. That's a little bit about me. Today, we're going to be talking about the e-commerce ecosystem, pros and tips about Shopify, Shopify criteria checklist, and lastly, Shopify plans. And that will be at the end to see if somebody or if someone wants to use Shopify, which plan they can use, because they have different plans, about 4 or 5 plans that you can pick from. And each plan is different from the other. I'm going to start first with why Shopify. The main advantages of Shopify is it's a SaaS software. So it's a software as a service. What does that mean is Shopify writes the code, Shopify hosts the e-commerce or the website themselves, and Shopify gives their customers, like merchants like us or whoever wants to build a website on Shopify, the ability to design it from the front end. And then they do the security enhancements, they do the upgrades, they do the updates to it and they releases and code upgrades into it every few months. The difference between this and a regular platform like, for example, Magento or WordPress or OpenCart is Shopify takes care of everything management part and hosting part and security part of it. If you want, for example, to build a Magento website, yes, you can build it. Yes, it would be good. There's huge companies on Magento. It's open source. The problem is it's very expensive to build. It costs a lot to manage as far as hosting and security and keeping up with the updates and upgrades and the security enhancements on it, which takes a lot of time from startups and small businesses. Plus, it's a lot costly. Shopify came in with this idea as SaaS as a software, and where all you gotta do is just go sign up with them. You get a free trial initially. You add your products. You apply it for a payment gateway, and boom, you're started selling. And they gave the ability to developers like us to enhance the front end part of the website. Plus, they gave the ability to developers and companies to connect the Shopify system with Shopify ecosystem. The ecosystem are apps and softwares that sits outside of Shopify. For example, you can have Shopify connected to QuickBooks. There's a lot of companies, they use QuickBooks for accounting, and they don't want to, shut down QuickBooks, or they don't want to use anything else. So Shopify allowed developers to connect, for example, Shopify with QuickBooks. So QuickBooks is part of the ecosystem of Shopify. And what they did is they built a very robust APIs where you can connect Shopify with any app outside of Shopify that makes certain tasks that you can grab data from Shopify and put it into a different system. You can pass data to Shopify to make it do certain tasks. And I believe this is one of the most things that help Shopify grow tremendously. So building a Shopify or designing a Shopify website is as easy as it could be. I mean, we've never been before in a way where you can literally create an e-commerce website and start selling products globally in literally about 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, you can just sign in or sign up with them, choose a package, add a couple of products, and then have somebody from China, for example, order from you, or from London, or from Rome. It's extremely simple. So that's one of the most advantages why people like Shopify, because it's very easy and you don't really need to know programming languages to be able to start that. And that helped a lot too. So they gave the ability to create and customize the online store easily. They allowed the users to sell in multiple places. With Shopify, they have something called sales channels. Sales channels basically is you can add products to Shopify itself as a platform, and you can sell those products into different sales channels. Like you can connect Shopify with Amazon. So if somebody buys your products from Amazon, the inventory can get deducted from Shopify automatically. You can connect Shopify with Pinterest. Same thing. If somebody buys from Pinterest or clicks on Pinterest ad and buy it, it will get deducted from Shopify, and Shopify can gather those statistical and sales details. You can connect it with a buy button. So if you're selling one product, for example, you can have a buy button plugged into a blog, and then people, when they read the blog, they click the buy button, it will buy automatically. It will push them to the checkout page, which technically is on a Shopify checkout page, and it will allow them to buy that. So that's the social media part. You can connect it with brick and mortar. Shopify has a point of sale, which you can simply download the app on your iPhone, and then if you have a brick and mortar store, you can start accepting credit cards immediately from your iPhone or iPad. You can also connect Shopify to eBay. You can connect Shopify to Etsy. You can connect Shopify to Facebook. So this allowed also businesses to sell on different places where they have everything in Shopify as a hub, or all their inventory is in one place, and that when somebody buys from eBay or Amazon, it gets deducted from Shopify. And we get a lot of customers who wants to do that, especially if they've been in the market for a long time and they want to just open multiple sales channels so they can get as much outreach as possible. Shopify also allows the merchants to manage their products. Like, you can easily add your product into Shopify. You can manage your inventory, which is always has been a headache for small businesses. And the nice thing about Shopify's inventory is, with the latest updates that they've released earlier this year, is you can choose a location of the inventory. So if you have, for example, you're selling a t-shirt and you have multiple distributors of those t-shirts, or you have multiple warehouses, you can choose initially where do you want this t-shirt to be shipped from initially. So if you have two warehouses, one in Los Angeles and one in New York, you can choose that, hey, I want by default those t-shirts to be shipped from New York warehouse, for example. So that happens a lot if you're drop shipping. You can, and that the amount or the quantity will be deducted from whichever warehouse you choose first. We've got the payments system. Shopify allowed merchants to accept payments very easily. Like, you can literally set up a payment gateway in 2 minutes. All you got to do is just submit your information with the EIN number or social security number, and boom, you start accepting credit cards. Shopify, they have something called Shopify Payment, which technically is Stripe. It's from a company called Stripe, and Stripe is one of the best companies, similar to PayPal, but it's a little bit, it's a different company. And it's one of the best companies to provide merchants payment gateways and to accept payments online. But Shopify names their payment gateway as Shopify or ShopPay or Shopify Payments, but technically it's Stripe. In Shopify, you can accept credit cards, you can accept COD, which is cash on delivery, you can accept Amazon Pay, you can accept PayPal, you can accept Google Pay, you can accept Apple Pay. So they made it easier for the merchants also to accept whichever payments they want, the way they have their business set up. A lot of customers, they want to accept PayPal because, when I say customers, I mean like merchants. A lot of merchants, they want to accept payments through PayPal, for example, because most of the people, they trust PayPal more. Some of them, they want to accept Amazon Pay because, same thing, because of the trust. So Shopify allowed those merchants to choose whichever payment gateway they want to use, or they can use them all and give the opportunity to the end customer to choose which payment they want to use. And that's a big deal. There isn't any platform that allows that much flexibility in the payments as fast as Shopify and as easy as Shopify does it. We got through shipping. They made it super easy to, although they have few things missing in their shipping as of now, I'll talk about this later, but they made it super easy to ship your products. You can literally print a shipping label from within Shopify itself, or you can connect Shopify to your USPS or FedEx or UPS accounts, and then you can take the live pricing of those products from UPS or FedEx or USPS and show it to the customer and allow your customers to pay how much that shipping is based on their location, based on the weight of the product, based on the volume of the product. With the shipping, there's few things that Shopify hasn't done yet. We're hoping they can do it soon. They're still missing, for example, the volume, like parts of the volume shipping, where if you have, for example, a box that's with a certain size and a different box that's on a bigger size, their system doesn't allow or doesn't know the pricing of the box based on the dimensional volume, which FedEx and UPS and USPS takes and some of the platforms like Magento has. So this is one of the functionalities that Shopify needs to still work on it. It's called dimensional volume. And this is mostly used for shipping big items like furniture, because with the furniture, you can't really charge the customer by the weight. You have to charge them by the volume, like the cubic volume of like the volume of the whole package. So as I mentioned before, Shopify is a completely SaaS software as a service. It's hosted by them. They use Google servers like Gmail servers, and they use Amazon AWS servers to host it. So you don't have to worry about upgrading the website, maintenance of the websites, worrying about APIs, worrying about security, worrying about anything. All you gotta do is just concentrate on your business, add your products, manage your orders, fulfill your orders, and that's pretty much it. So what are the e-commerce core components? Like if you want to build a new Shopify website, what do you want to have to worry about? There's so many different things when building an e-commerce website. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the project management and time, because that's one of the most crucial things. A lot of people, they think that building an e-commerce website might take 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, even a year. Yes, that usually it was like that before. I would say maybe 2013, 2014 and before. If you want to build Magento, if you want to build WooCommerce, etc., it will take about 30 days, 40 days, depending on the development company, depending on if you're ready to start, if you have all the details of your products, if you know all your distribution, if you know the details of the shipping, if you know your taxes, all of that. With that being said, when Shopify came to the market, as I mentioned before, you can build a website and set up the shipping, the taxes, the payment gateway in about an hour or less. If you know what you're doing, it takes 10 minutes to build it. So with building an e-commerce website, you have to have, first of all, you have to set up the time, you have to hire somebody, or you can do it yourself if you know how to do it. Let's say a customer has no idea about e-commerce, they just own a clothing business and they want to go online. The first thing I always tell my customers is, when you want to build an e-commerce website, try to find who are your top competitors. It doesn't have to be locally, because you're going online. When going online, you're selling either nationwide or you're selling globally. Most of our customers, or most of the customers, they sell nationwide because the US market is more than enough. There's a lot of potential in the US market. So I ask them to pick 2 or 3 different competitors, like one of the best competitors. If you're using, for example, if you're selling clothing, let's say you choose Fashion Nova. Then look at what these guys are doing. So for example, Fashion Nova is a $200 million company. They have huge teams from designers, developers, and marketing teams. So they already are spending tons of money on enhancing and having the features that works, and they've already tested and did A/B testing on everything on their website. That's why they're very successful. So we ask our customers to choose those competitors so we can not necessarily copy them, but maybe mimic them or benchmark them or get some features from those websites that we know that they work and they're doing sales. So once we identify those competitors, we look at the design aspect of how the website is going to be. How is it going to look? Does the customer have their own branding, or they want to rebrand the whole thing from the beginning? How long they have been in business? Some companies, they've been in business for a long time. They have their own branding. So all we got to do is just build on top of what they have. If they're new, then we build them new branding based on the competitors that they gave us and based on the back and forth that we have with them. Then once we do the design, we create, if you're using a custom design on Shopify, we're using something called mock-ups. So we design all the front end and UI, UX design of the website itself. And then we build it into Shopify. Some customers, they want to go with the easier way where they just pick a theme, like an out of the box theme, and then just fill in the blanks in it. There's a difference between custom designing a website or building a theme. It's literally like building a house. You can go and buy a pre-built house and then fit your family in it, or you can buy a piece of land and then design a villa on top of it based on your needs and business needs. And this is one of the major issues that a lot of customers fall into when building an e-commerce or a Shopify website. They go mostly with the cheaper price, and the cheaper price is with the theme, because what you're doing is you're going to a website, downloading a theme that's already pre-built, and then uploading it into your account on Shopify, and then filling in the blanks with the graphics, just a couple banners, and then adding products. Yes, it might work. No, there's no branding in there. You can brand it a little bit, but that theme might not fit your business, because if the theme might be done for selling, let's say, computers, and then you want to use it for selling t-shirts. It's not going to work. It might look okay, but it doesn't have the branding in it. And most of the times, merchants have issues with those themes because they want to add features to it, and the theme won't allow it because they have their own libraries inside the theme and their own coding. It either causes conflicts with certain apps within Shopify, or it loads really slow when accessing the website. I personally recommend always doing a custom design, even though if you want to pay a little bit extra to the development company, because you can design it based on your vision or your brand and your business. So once you finish the design, or while the development company is working on the design, or whoever you hire is working on the design, you have to work on the web copy. The web copy consists of the homepage copy or content. It consists about the story of the store, why you're different. And I always recommend to have an about us section in the store, so the shopper who is shopping on your website, he can understand your story, he can read about the story. Because most of the websites right now, I mean, they're coming from a family, small businesses or family businesses. And people sometimes, they relate to that. And they want to see, for example, your face or the owner's face, or maybe the owner's family in a portrait picture. And then talking a little bit about the story, this will give them confidence, and it will give them more security to trust this website and buy from it. The web content also consists of the content of the terms and conditions, privacy policy, shipping policy. Those are very important, especially the shipping policy and the return policy, because if you sell a product and a customer wants to dispute it, the bank or the financial institution, when they're reviewing the dispute, they will look into these. So those are very important to write and to make it clear, and to make it in a way where you, as a shop or store owner, secure yourself. This way you don't lose money and you don't use the product, because there's a lot of disputes, there's a lot of scams out there, especially in the online marketplace, because it's very easy for customers to use somebody else's credit card, and then you get a dispute. Other than the web copy, we've got the photography and videos, and those are technically the product details or the product pictures. The product pictures, you can either get it from your manufacturer, you can get it from your distributor, and there's no legal issues with that, or you can give it to a company who can take professional photos of it. And we've got some customers, they buy a box from, like a photo box from Amazon, it's like $150, and then they take photos from their phones or iPhones, and it's totally perfectly fine, and they look very professional too, and they can use them into their website. So we've talked about the project management on like how to identify and how long does a project takes, the design, the web copy. Once the content of the website is ready, which can be done at the same time as the design, the company will, like the design company will basically during the design process will share with you those mockups that we just talked about, so you can approve them and then go back and forth with them. And then once the design is ready, you just take it to development. The development is basically converting the design that a designer did into a Shopify theme, and then afterwards fill it out with the content that you've written and the product pictures that you've taken, and then making it a real website with interaction. So you can technically add to cart, sign in, check out, get an abandoned cart, email, etc. So that's what development is in this case. Once that's all done, we jump into the analytics and reporting. Before you publish the website, you have to know, or you have to set up the analytics part of it, where at least you know who's coming to your website, from where, what keywords they're using, and what's the conversion rate. And 99% of the companies, they use Google Analytics or Facebook Pixels. So when finishing the website, the last step to do is adding the Facebook and Google Analytics pixels, so Google Analytics can track the visitors, where they're coming from, the conversion rate, the bounce rate, and all the statistics that you need to know. Afterwards, when you add those pixels, you get to the marketing part, which is the social media part. With marketing, you can market the website into multiple channels. The first thing you need to understand in marketing is you need to know who your audience are. If you're selling t-shirts for millennials, then you should advertise for people between the age of 18 and let's say 24. If you're selling jewelry for older generations, then you should identify identify who they are, identify their demographics, what ages they are they men or women, what do they do, what's the salary they have. Because right now with Google and Facebook and Instagram, you can identify audiences as much as if they're married or not, if they have kids or not, and so on and so forth. So when identifying those, it makes it a lot cheaper for the website owner to advertise and to reach exactly the people who, or the potential customers who they want to reach out to. So if, for example, if I'm selling t-shirts for millennials, I would probably go with Instagram and Snapchat. Why? Because most millennials, they use Snapchat and of course TikTok. I will create audience with different geographical areas. So I may create an ad for people who live in Los Angeles. I may create an ad for people who live in New York, which is different, and certain other cities, like let's say 5 ads. And then I will test those ads and see which one is working the most. And then I can mimic that ad into different cities to get more conversions and to sell more. So that's how most of the marketing companies, they do. That's called A/B testing. They create 5 or 6 ads. Each ad is with different demographics, of course, targeting the audience that we just defined. And each ad is a little bit different from the other in terms of graphics, in terms of content, and in terms of the outreach, who to reach out. And then whichever ad is working the most and getting most click-through rate or CTRs and most conversion rates, that's the one that they bump the budget on it, and then they mimic it into different cities or different areas, and then start pushing it more and more and more. You can't start advertising a website for, let's say, $5,000-$10,000 a day or $5,000-$10,000 a month. Some customers, they start with $50 with different ads, $50 a day, for example, or $25 a day with different ads to understand how the market is reacting to it. Maybe the graphics is wrong. Maybe the audience is wrong. Maybe we thought that, people on Snapchat are going to be using it, but they're not. People on TikTok are being attracted more to it. So It's all about A/B testing and checking it out. And of course, it's about also choosing which media channel you want to advertise on: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google search, etc. For example, you can't sell, let's say, AC filters on Facebook. For AC filters, people will search for that. They have to search for that to be able to show that for them. And for products like that, it's best to advertise it on Google as search ad, and then do something called remarketing or retargeting. So on Facebook and other media channels. So when somebody searches for something and they come from Google to your website, they scroll through your website, they didn't buy, then if they go somewhere else on Facebook, they see your ad there. And same thing happens with all of the companies. They do retargeting or remarketing, because most of the times the customers will not buy from the first shot. They will probably, search for something, get distracted, go to something else. When you follow them for 2 weeks or 1 week through ads on the site on Facebook, or through image ads on the news, etc., that's called retargeting or remarketing, and it has a huge effect on the way customers make decisions. That's analytics and reporting. We talked about this. So let me talk a little bit about the heat maps and the recordings. When you build a website, and as I said in the advertising part of it, we talked about doing A/B testing on the ads. A lot of companies, when they build a website, that doesn't mean that even if it looks good, it might not convert right. It's all about conversion, because you don't build a website as it's not a non-profit organization or a news section where you need people, or you want people to come to the website, just read and leave. You're building a business. You have to have a good conversion rate. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to have the website at all. So sometimes you might have the nicest website in the something is wrong with it. What we do is, once we build the website, if the conversion rate is not right, we do something called A/B testing through landing pages. So we create 3 or 4 landing pages, and we drive traffic to those landing pages from different sources. So when you're doing advertising, you can create one ad that's the same ad, but it's going to different pages. And you leave it, for example, for 3-4 days or maybe a week, and then you come and compare which of those pages had the most visits, which of those pages had the most conversion rate, what are people doing on those pages. And if you look at this one here, there's something called heat maps. It's a code that you insert into the pages themselves, where you can literally record what the customer is doing while they're scrolling. And it looks like this. So this is, for example, a customer who was reviewing a page, and they're moving their mouse over that page. So you can at least have a basic understanding of what they're doing and what they're reading and where they're stopping to read more. So you can understand their behavior. The more you understand the behavior of the customer, the more you can enhance the page, enhance the website, get a better conversion rate, and make your customers happy, and of course, better sales. We talked about the web design, wireframes, and mockups. We talked about the photography and videos, the web copy. And with the web copy, I think I forgot to mention the Facebook and Google copy, which those are basically for like the ads, the ad copy. For development, as we mentioned, once the design team finishes the mockups or the design, we give it to the developers or the development team, and they convert that into a mockup. We have here some like pro tips for Shopify. When you want to start building like a Shopify store, just keep in mind the very first thing is come up with a deadline. Say, you know what, by this date, I need the website to be done, and communicate that to your team or your development team or your company or your SEO company or whoever you're working with. Try to use the keywords that best fits your products. And sometimes you might say, hey, everybody is selling a certain product. Yes, everybody is selling the same product. Try to make yourself a little bit different so you can sell, so people can see that you're different. For example, everybody sells like clothing, but why people go with Louis Vuitton, for example? Why do they go with, let's say, Gap or Nike? Because these are well-known products, it's well-known brands, and they're reputable and they have good quality products. All it takes is a good quality product and a good customer service to start a website. It might start slow, but it's gonna pick up as soon as you do the steps that we mentioned about good design, good conversion rate, track the customers, what they're doing as far as analytics, track their heat maps, see where they're converting and where they're not, what's missing on your website. Try to create an interaction with the customer on the website, maybe have a chat button, maybe have a story about you and your family and how you started the business, etc.
Hey, Mo, this is Dennis. Just a question. If you could go back to that slide where you just were, can you talk a little bit about mobile is king? Because we've been talking about
Yes.
that in the class, about how so much e-commerce is coming from mobile. And also,
Exactly.
if you could talk about the use of video a little bit more.
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay. So mobile is king. Everything, the very first thing you need to understand is when building an e-commerce website in 2020 is building the website on mobile first. It must look nice and fast on mobile. Why? Because 70% to 75% of the US users are not using their desktop or laptop to shop. All they got to do is open their iPhone or whatever phone they have, go to a website and try to navigate that website, search for a product, add to cart, and buy. So they're technically buying from the mobile. So the mobile look and feel must be properly designed, professional, and most importantly, fast. If the mobile device or the website is not fast enough on mobile, people will leave it. People will move to somebody else, to your competitor, and buy from there. Why? Because people has a very, very short attention span right now. They probably have like 5 seconds attention span. If the website doesn't load in 3-4 seconds, they're leaving to somebody else. They get bored. And that's a huge issue. It's not like before, like 10 years before, where the internet is slow. People know that, hey, this is, the internet is slow. I just have to wait a little bit to buy something. It's not like that these days. And most of the users are buying from mobile. That's why you see a lot of companies, they build mobile apps because they want to attract the customer. They want to send them. Why they build mobile apps? Because the app is installed literally on the phone. They can take advantage of that. They can send push notifications to the customer with sales, with offers, with coupon codes, etc. This is it's huge. So when building a website, start first with mobile, because that's what 70% of your customers are going to come from and will be using their mobile devices to load it. Using videos is important, especially when building ads. So it's when you're creating an ad on Facebook or Instagram, as you can see, when you're scrolling there, most of the times you see videos. Why? Because a video takes the attention of the user more than an image. Plus, believe it or not, it's cheaper to advertise a video than an image ad. The pay-per-click on, so if you have an image ad, it might cost you like 50 cents per click, but for the video, it's like 40% cheaper. That's why a lot of customers, they use videos. Plus, people tend to be attracted more to videos and to watch the videos more than just an image, because the image is static. You want something interactive. You want something that grabs the attention of the customer. And most of the time you'll see on Instagram or Facebook, like real people advertising with their faces and on like for their product. This way they're removing the barrier between the website itself and the customer. So when you come in the middle with your image talking about a product and how good is a product, or maybe bringing somebody who's talking about a review on a product, that gives the customer a sense of security, and they will trust that particular brand almost immediately. So they know that there are real people behind it, and they know that they can relate to those people. Especially, for example, when you're selling, let's say, food online, you see that some people are saying, you know, they're talking about their food, or maybe the reviews about their food, or stuff like that. Okay.
Mo, just one more question on this. So one of the things you've made clear is that the speed of the website is really important, especially in mobile. And so do you have any tips if somebody has a Shopify app and they perceive that that their mobile is slow or their website is slow? Is there anything they can do about that?
Okay. That's a great question. Most of the slowness on Shopify comes from three things. First of all, bad coding, of course. If the developer you hired had bad coding and has unnecessary code, then the website, of course, will load slowly because it's taking more time to execute on the browser. The second thing is adding large banners on the homepage or on the product pages. You don't necessarily need to add an image for a product that's 5 megabytes, which takes about 5 seconds to load. All you gotta do is upload an image that's web compatible, which is maybe PNG format or JPG format, and the size of it is maybe between 600 to 1200 pixels size. That's all you need. The third thing, which is, I would say it's a disadvantage on Shopify, is the more you add apps, the slower the website becomes. Why? Because those apps are hosted on the developer's servers. For example, we have and we own a lot of apps in the App Store, like as a company. Most of our apps, we make sure to host them on the best servers, and we host them on Amazon AWS, and we make sure that the servers are really fast, to make sure that there's a load balancer on the server. This way, when there's a lot of traffic, the server itself enhances the processes and it stays fast. But on the other hand, there's a lot of companies that, for the sake of saving money on hosting, they host their websites on cheap servers, which makes their app a little bit slower, which affects the Shopify website and makes it slower. And this is a major issue with a lot of apps, and it's a very well-known problem with Shopify. We're hoping that Shopify can come up with a plan, maybe have their own servers and push everybody in their ecosystem to host on their servers, and then maybe organize that ecosystem in a way where they have standards that, hey, if you want to create an app, if you want to put it on the App Store, it must follow these rules. Right now, they have rules, but they don't have rules on the hosting part of it. So that's why you find some of the Shopify websites are really slow. So it's either the code is bad, the images on the website and the content on the website is too big and it's taking long time to load, or the apps are affecting the website big time.
Mo, thank you. And if I'm asking questions that get ahead of where you are, don't hesitate.
No, please ask. I mean, I want you guys to ask because we're
yeah.
almost.
So one of the things that that we're talking about in the class is which Shopify apps should we be looking at? Like, for example, abandoned cart apps, rewards apps, et cetera, et cetera. Do you have any general guidance?
Sure.
For kind of startup companies as far as which apps make the most sense to look at?
Sure. It really depends on the business. First of all, you have to understand your niche market and the business itself. The less apps you have, the better it is, right? Why? Because the website will stay fast. And plus, it's cheaper. You don't have to pay for those apps because some of the apps are pretty expensive for no reason. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they think that as you know, the more you add apps, that means the more the website is good. That's not true. In my own opinion, is the most important apps is the apps that makes your customer's life easier. So I would use an app, for example, for chatting. So if a customer has a question, they can reach out to a human being and ask about that question. That's important, in my own opinion. Why? Because you're making it easy for a customer to chat with the owner of the website and ask a question. And this will definitely create a sense of security for the customer and confidence for the customer to buy from that website. And we've seen numbers as 30% more conversion rate on websites that have the chat button on it. That's one thing. The other thing is you might need an app that sends emails or do marketing emails and text messages. The marketing emails, like for example, when you get to a website, they tell you, hey, here's 10%, add your email. Why they want your email? Because they need to keep following you. They want to capture, because they already paid, the merchant or the store owner already paid your admission fee as a customer. Once you got into their website, they paid your admission fee either from a Google ad or from a Facebook ad or from an Instagram ad. You already paid that as a store owner. So why not give them another 10% or 15% before they leave without buying? So at least take their email number, their email or phone number, because you can use that in a list of audience where you can have that email and then go to Facebook and tell Facebook, hey, show my ads to people who are like this particular email, who have the same behavior as them. And this is also very important. So I would use an app that captures emails, and with those emails, you can always use them for email marketing, because technically email marketing is the cheapest thing you can ever do. If you have a list of emails and you're doing it in a legit way, not stealing emails or buying email lists, then that's the best thing you can do, because all you have to do is just prepare an email and send it to 1,000 people who are potential customers, and it literally costs you like $5 to do that, instead of paying $5 on each customer to attract them. One of the apps that is important also, let's say you're selling coffee, and with coffee you need, people will buy coffee almost every month or every 2 months. It's important to install an app that does the auto ship or the recurring shipping. Why? Because again, the first time the customer came to you or to the website, you paid their admission fees. Probably the first time they come to the website, you won't be making money off of them, or maybe you're going to be making a little bit of money. The more you keep the customer buying from you throughout this customer journey, let's say over 2 years, the more money you'll be making. So imagine a customer, you're spending $5 on a customer to acquire them. You sold them an item for $100. You have a 20% profit on the $100. So they paid $100. You got $20 profit. Out of the $20, you paid $5 only for the ad, and you probably have to account another $5 for operations, right? So you end up with $10. They bought from you one time. You end up with $10, and that's it. Imagine if this exact customer comes every month to you and they buy for $100 for, instead of $100, $90, but over a year. Over the year, you're gonna probably be making $120 from the $90 they paid, because you gave them a 10% discount, right? So you made $120 instead of initially you made $10 from a one-time purchase. So the more you keep the customer engaging with your website, the better. The more you elongate the customer journey with you, the better, the more money you make as a store owner. Does that make sense?
Yes. Do you find that these recurring shipping apps, do they impact the site speed?
Not necessarily. I mean, I didn't say that all of the apps will impact the site speed. Yes, they will impact it in a little bit, because you're adding their code also, and you're doing another call to a different server which they are on. But some of the apps are necessary for the business to run, right? So it might take a little bit, maybe like 0.2 seconds more, but you have to balance that out to, okay, well, is this going to make me money more, or is this just going to ruin the website speed and make me lose customers? So you just have to balance it out, and then just use the necessary apps to enhance the business and to increase sales. That's the most important thing. It's not like don't use any apps. Use apps, but don't use the apps that are not necessary.
Yeah. How do you feel about rewards programs from retailers? How do you feel about those?
It depends on the retailer. First of all, the rewards program, all of them are expensive. I mean, probably the cheapest is maybe $80 to $100 a month, which is for a small business is a lot of money. It's literally more than the Shopify package itself, unfortunately. It depends on the business. If you're selling, for example, coffee, yes, it's good because you encourage the customer more to buy from you through the subscription plus the rewards program and gaining points and then giving them like free stuff. What we're doing, what we did lately is we're building an app right now. I think it's a pretty unique app in the App Store, which is, we're building two apps. I'm going to tell you about them. The first app is called Try It On, which is almost done. We're publishing it to the App Store, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. The Try It On is an app that, let's say you're selling rings or wedding rings. People get hesitant because they can't really try it, right? So they have to buy it, and then the business will ship it to them. They have to try it. If they don't like it, they have to return it back. So they say, you know what? I'm not trying it. I'm just gonna go to a real like storefront and buy it from there, maybe in their neighborhood or so. So we created an app that allows the users to choose, for example, 4 different rings and then check them out on Shopify with adding a credit card, and they pay $0. They don't pay anything. The store owner will ship those products to the customer. We already have, as a store owner, he's already secure because he already have the credit card number of the customer. The customer will receive those rings. They will check them out, and they will most probably 60 to 70% of the times they will keep one of them, which technically increases the conversion rate. Yes, it's a little bit of headache, but you have to be different from the others. We did this app for a company in San Francisco, and they've seen like a 40% increase in their sales just from that particular app. Why? Because you're giving the customer the opportunity to try the product at their house for free to make a decision, and they will make a decision once you do it. Like 6 to 7 customers out of 10, they will buy from that, and then the other 3 they will return without buying. And that's huge in e-commerce because you're giving the customer, why people buy online, because it's all about convenience. So the more you give them convenience, the more you're different from everybody else, the more you trust the customer, the more sales you do, and the more money you make as a business. So that's with the Try On app. We're building also an app which hopefully Shopify will approve it this week. It's basically allowing like merchants and store owners to offer their customers insurance on their products. Let's say you're buying, I don't know, a t-shirt, and then on the cart page, we're asking the customer, hey, would you like to put an insurance on this item if it's damaged or something? And then just charge them like $1 or maybe 50 cents or $2. Most of the people will buy that. That's technically free money. Why? Because either ways, if the t-shirt arrived, or first of all, if the t-shirt didn't arrive to the customer, he's gonna complain to you and you have to send it to them for free. Or if the t-shirt arrived damaged, you have to also send it to them for free. So why not upsell them an insurance that technically doesn't exist? You have to do it either ways and take from them money. These are called upsells. For the insurance app, nobody has done it before. We're hopefully the only company who has done it. We're hoping to become very popular. And we already have like 10 customers on it right now working on it, but it's a private app for them, and it's showing great results. So the more you add, you think about having the customer pay more on the website, the more money you make. Even if it's 50 cents. Imagine 50 cents on 1,000 orders a day. That's $500. $500 times 30, that's 15 grand a month. Times 12, that's $150,000 a year from doing nothing. Just offering an insurance for, of course, the website has to be up and running and working. So you're making free money. Same thing with the Try On app. You're giving the customer convenience to buy. The try-on app could work also on sunglasses, for example. If you're selling sunglasses, people, it's very hard for people to buy sunglasses online. Why? Because they can't try it. They don't know, or they're not going to be able to see how they look in it. So why not tell them, hey, these are the 4 glasses. I'm sending it to you for free. Choose one of them, and then once you're done, ship it back. Keep in mind that with the try-on products, for example, the products have to be worth it. Like for the wedding rings, each wedding ring is like $600-700 minimum. So the margin is big. Otherwise, you can't do that on like the try-on a t-shirt that costs $20, for example. You're not going to be making money because you have to ship it multiple times. So having upsells, having the subscription-based model, having the rewards program, having the email capture, MailChimp or Klaviyo or any other marketing software that you want to use, having the chat button is very important to having a website scale and make more sales and increase the conversion rate. Does anyone have any questions?
Me again, sorry. Have you had much experience with membership type sites, kind of like Costco, you pay a membership fee and then you get supposedly better pricing. Any thoughts on membership as a concept?
We've done few membership ones. One of them is they sell wine and spirits. And what they do is they pay $100 a year for that, and they get wholesale for wines and spirits. Wholesale pricing plus free shipping. It's popular, but again, it all depends on the niche. It all depends if it's going to be worth it, because most of the membership websites, you're talking about Amazon. So Amazon is a membership website. You have to buy the Prime to be able to take advantage of the free shipping. Otherwise, you can't do that. I mean, you will have to buy it. It's just another e-commerce website. Membership works in specific businesses, and I think membership works more between B2B businesses. Like if you're selling, let's say, tires and wheels from, let's say you're a big wholesaler of tires and wheels, you're selling a smaller wholesaler. You tell them, hey, you have to pay $100 for me giving you a wholesale prices, and then they can buy from them straight. It really depends on the niche. I haven't seen much like success in it, like a lot of success, because most of the customers, most of the merchants, they don't do it. Because most of the merchants are going B2C. And then with the B2C, there's different products, different pricing. And then they change the products a lot, of course. And then when changing different products, you have to change the pricing all the time because you're just competing with everybody else. So it's hard to take a membership and then sell products more than somebody else, unless you are a brand and people will buy from you no matter what. I mean, Nike could do it, for example, because people like Nike. They can say, you know what, pay $100 for membership, and then everything within that year is free shipping. That would work because people want that brand. But if you're a small business, I don't think people will sign up with that membership to be able to buy the products from you.
Okay. I'm going to ask Taylor to comment on her Shopify experience. She's probably one of the most experienced people that we have. Taylor, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing just your expertise on everything. I've really enjoyed listening and getting to hear from your perspective. Our Shopify site right now, we have an Etsy shop that we make most of our money off of, and we decided that we want to start transitioning to our own website, and Shopify was the first platform we picked, and we've had it for probably 2 years now, but we haven't really started spending a lot of time and investing time and money into it until this year, just because we finally got to the point where we had time to do it. But it's been interesting to hear you talk about the difference between like a theme and having someone develop the website. just because we chose a theme, and just because it was cheaper, like you said, and I wasn't very familiar with having someone develop our website. So I chose a theme, and I mean, it's working pretty good, like you said, but there are some limitations that I'm starting to, like, as the business grows and we really want to be able to tailor it to our business, it's getting kind of hard. Like, for example, we wanted to have a build your own box feature because we sell gift boxes, and we would like customers to be able to choose like what style gift box they want, what items they want included, and be able to do all of that in one, like,
Screen.
on one
I
page.
know exactly what you're talking about. So you wanted it like a wizard where step 1, choose this, step 2, choose this, step 3, would you like this? And then step 4, checkout. We're doing something similar for a company in Los Angeles that's similar to that.
Yeah, so we wanted to do that, and I've started reaching out to see if someone could code it into our theme. But I mean, after listening to this, it sounds like eventually we might just have to have like our own, like a developer come in and just build a website. But my main
It could be doable if you want to, you know, outside the presentation, just shoot me an email or call me. I will look into your theme and see if it's doable within that theme.
Okay. And then I guess my question when you think about like a theme, one of the reasons I like Shopify and how they have themes is that it's so easy for me to go in and make quick changes. Like if I wanted to like make the homepage have like a new launch or something on it, it's easy for me to do that. I don't have to pay someone to do it outside of the team. If we were to have someone like you build
same thing. Actually, it's even better with the custom themes because they give you the ability, or whoever is building it should give you the ability to change more than what the other theme you bought that's pre-made. Okay. Why? Because you brand it the way you want, you put the elements in it the way you want, and they allow you to edit those elements from the customized theme section.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's always been my biggest question, an area of just like confusion.
No, you can always do that. I mean, I mean, 90% of our work is custom themes. I mean, we literally built a website for a company called newzestusa.com. We built for them 20 websites for each country. For Australia, for New Zealand, for UK, France. They were on a theme and they were struggling. It's a big company. They're probably worth like 500 million or so. We built for them one theme and we rolled it over to all the other countries. And they had the same exact thought that you had before, that they can't really change stuff from it. But we gave them the ability to pretty much change every single element in the theme section themselves without even coming to us.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's always been my concern, but that's great to know that you're able to do that. And I guess our other thing that we're kind of starting to look into now that we have the budget for it, we have someone who runs Google Ads for us, like a third party, not a company, it's just a person. One of our friends specializes in it. And he runs Google Ads for us. And then we're actually starting to look into someone to do Facebook ads. I guess from your perspective, do you find that it's better? Like we have 13 employees. So I don't personally do everything at the business. And we're finding that I don't always have the time to spend doing things that I don't have expertise in. So we try to outsource what we can to someone who knows more, so I don't have to spend time learning it. Would you recommend finding someone else to run Facebook ads and Instagram ads? Or would you recommend like taking a class and learning how to do it?
Let me ask you this. Do you know so from a business perspective, if you hire somebody who has the knowledge and who's getting results, it's better. Why? Because you're a business owner, right? So you're wearing a lot of hats: accounting, marketing, adjusting the website, making sure customers are happy, fulfilling orders, submitting taxes, worrying about so many different things. So it's better to outsource that to a different company or another person if they're getting you results. So that's the most important thing. So you have to measure between what you're paying them and your time, and if it's worth it, and the results they're getting.
Okay.
Do you know what's the conversion rate you guys are getting and the ROI, which is the return on investment,
right,
on those ads?
All right,
do you have any ideas about those numbers?
do I? I'm sorry. I thought you said it was depending on the, right now it's, what is our ROI right now? We don't know off the top of our head, but basically Shopify is not very good right now. We're, our Google Merchant Center, like actually 2 days ago, just like got kicked off. We're not really sure why. We're having a meeting this afternoon to find out why, but we made some edits to some of our products and Shopify did not like that. So we're running into some issues when it comes to Google ads and things like that.
Sure. So the very first thing, to be honest with you, is you have to keep an eye on two things in advertising: the conversion rate, actually three things. The click-through rate, which is how many people are clicking your ad based on impressions. If the click-through rate, let's say your ad is, the impressions are 1,000 impressions. Impression is basically when you search on Google and you show on there. The customer didn't click anything or anything. Just showing up there is called an impression. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you have to see how many click-through rates based on those impressions. So if we got 1,000 impressions, how many people clicked on the ad? Because the main thing for people is why you advertise, because you want to be right there. So you want Google to show impressions and you want people to click on your ad. That's the main goal of that, right? So you have to look also on the numbers on the click-through rate, plus you have to look on the conversion rate. Like if you have 1,000 impressions and out of the 1,000, you've got 50 people clicking. Out of those 50 people, or let's say make it 100 people. So we've got 1,000 impressions, 100 people clicked on it. We've got, for example, only 20 people or 10 people click on that. How many of those 10 did they convert? That's very important. The conversion rate of your website must be above 3% to be considered good. Anything below 3% is okay. Anything below 1.5% or 2% is bad. It's not worth advertising unless you're selling diamonds, which your profit on it is 100%. For example, if you're selling an item for $1,000 and then your cost is 500, then 1% on the 500 is fine. So out of 1,000, 100 people who clicked through your ad, one of them purchased, it's worth it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, our conversion rate is between 2 and 3%. I just can't remember what the exact point is. But we're hoping that we're going to be able to expand into Facebook and Instagram advertising soon to help, kind of like what you were saying, how people don't make their first purchase on the first time they visit your website. So we're hoping that once people visit our website, we'll be able to show up on their Facebook feed, their Instagram feed.
Right. So what I would do in your case, since you're selling gifts, when let's say I went to Google, I searched for a box, I found your website, I clicked on it. I looked at the website, but I didn't buy. Do a remarketing on Facebook and Instagram where you show videos of some of your customers, like a video of one of your customers talking about how cool the product that you send them is and how and the quality of it. And then maybe another ad that shows a video about the product from like a rotation of the product, just a nice video about it. And maybe a third ad that gives the customer a 15% or 20% discount on it. Say, hey, you left something, we're sorry to see you leaving our website. Here's 10% or 20%. Click here to find it.
Okay. Yeah, those are all definitely good
those
things.
are remarketing. Yeah, those are remarketing ads, and definitely they will increase your conversion rate. Why? Because when you do remarketing, the customer is already familiar with you. They've been on your website already, so they know who you are. So there's a bigger chance that you will purchase that item, or they will purchase their item. I'm sorry.
And so, and I know you mentioned that video ads are less expensive to run than
yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
yes,
so
that's correct. The video ads are about 30 to 50% less expensive than the image ads. Plus, they're more interactive. Plus, they attract more the customer, and they grab the attention of the customer more.
Okay. And are you familiar at all with like Pinterest advertising?
Yes.
Okay. That's one area that like our Etsy shop again is where most of our revenue comes from, and a lot of we used to, like back when we only focused on Etsy, we would pin all of our products onto Etsy. So now we're trying to replicate that with our website as well. And we've also found that like blog posts work really well for our website, just for like organic traffic on Google.
Yes.
That's really helpful.
Yeah, blog posts are good. And maybe try something called lead quizzes, where you create a quiz asking customers like few questions.
Uh-huh.
And then at the end of the quiz, you give them the answer, and then you give them, hey, here's the product recommended for you.
Okay.
It works a lot, especially if you're selling like items that are related to ladies. Ladies like to interact with quizzes.
Do you know if there's like a plugin on Shopify for that?
For lead quizzes, you can use Typeform. It's called Typeform. It's just a form that you do, and then at the end, just show two products. Let's say you're selling, for example, food. You just ask them, hey, what's your favorite food? You know, and you paste American, Mexican, Middle Eastern, whatever, and they choose one. And then, do you have any diet preferences? And they answer something, and then another question, and then a fourth question. And you have a button, view your results. When they click view the results, push them into a page on your Shopify website, a collection page that has 3-4 products, and then just so they can buy from it. So the more you make it interactive, the better. Plus, you're capturing from them the email in the beginning. Before they view the results, capture from them the email.
Right.
This way you can use the email as an audience in the audience list in Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest.
Okay. And then I have a follow-up question. How many times a week do you recommend that e-commerce stores send out emails?
It depends on the business also. I would say once a week.
Okay.
So
yeah, go ahead, Mo. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So for example, if you're selling coffee, for example, I will send it every 1 month. So just have an automation. Like, for example, we own a filter business. Like, I sell literally AC filters. It's one of the websites that I've built, and I drop ship. I don't touch anything. With AC filters, you change the filter every 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, right? Depending on which MERV it is. There's MERV 6, MERV 8, MERV 11, and MERV 13. So when a customer purchases a filter, I look which MERV they added or they purchased. Let's say MERV 8. MERV 8, you have to change it every month. So I push them directly to a list of MERV 8 customers. And I have a rule on my Shopify website that every 30 days, if the customer doesn't purchase, send them an email telling them, hey, it's time to change your filter. And that makes a huge difference. And they will buy, believe it or not, because you're reminding them.
Yeah. And one more question before Dennis goes on. Do you have a recommendation for a Shopify plugin that does chat, like customer service chat?
There's one called Talk, T-A-W-K.
Okay.
There's one called Tidio, T-I-D-I-O. And if you have a CRM, you can use HubSpot. Their chat too, but I don't believe you have a CRM.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mo, you mentioned the effectiveness at video. Do you recommend do-it-yourself video, or how do you handle video production?
I mean, it really depends on the type of video you do. I always recommend doing a video that shows real people and real customers in it. I mean, you can simply ask one of your customers, give them, hey, if you do a video for me talking about my product, I'll give you 50% your next order. Trust me, a lot of people will do a video just from an iPhone, and then they can do it. Or if you're advertising something in that video other than just a review, then a professional video is fine. And, you know, creating videos now is very easy. You can do it through your iPhone, literally, and then give it to someone who can just edit it for $100, $200. It's not that expensive. You don't really need a crew to do that.
Yeah. Okay, well.
If I could just ask a question really quick. With the video ads, what kind of length, like, would you recommend for a video ad that works the best? Like, how long?
I would say anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute.
Okay, awesome.
Because again, the attention span of customers is really bad. I mean, people get bored very quickly.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Mo, you can keep on going. Sorry to
No,
sidetrack
I want
you.
you guys to ask because it makes my life easier. And okay, so where we are, pro tips. Okay, so these are some of the questions that you can ask yourself when building a, a Shopify website. It's just literally a quiz. So you can ask yourself, what's the average order value? If it's between 75 to 100 to 200 bucks, you get 5 points or add 5 points. The reason behind that is the more the value of the order is, the more money you make. That's why you want to allow the customer to buy as much as you want or as you can from your website. So because you already paid their admission fees, they came to your website. So the more you sell them, the better it is. Same thing with what Walmart does. Why would they put the milk at the very end of their store in the corner? Because they want you to go all the way there. And while you're going there, there's probably a 50% chance that you're gonna grab something else. Because you already came to their store. They want to make sure that you spend in their store as much as possible and as fast as possible. So they put the milk in there because everybody wants milk. So you have to go all the way through the islands and, and then while you're going there, you're going to grab something else to buy. If your gross margin is about 20%, that's also a 5 points. 20% is good. Usually if you're drop shipping, it should be 20%. If you own your own inventory, it should be above anywhere between 35 to 50%. Anything above 40% is really good. I mean, it's good because it's worth advertising for it. Most of the drop shippers, they do about 20% margin. For the fragmented market, if it depends on the product, what you're selling, which market, which audience it has. I'm not too concerned about that. It's not a big deal. Lends itself to return customers. How much are you getting returns? Are your customers returning a lot? What's your return rate? The return rate on a successful Shopify store should be anywhere between 3 to 7%. 7% is considered good. Above 7% is bad. The less, the best. You have to see also how many items are being returned, also like multiple items. It's the same as the first one. The less returns you get, of course, the better, because you don't spend money, time, and efforts on sending an item to a customer and they end up returning it. Can you add a value to the market? That's a great question. That depends on the product or the service you're selling. So if you're selling a brand, then yes. If you're selling something that's very unique, then yes, you are adding a value. So the value basically is the need of that product in the market. So if you're adding a value, then that's 5%, which is good. I believe most of the products add value. We live in the United States, and whatever you sell in this country, it will work. You just have to be smart and careful of how you sell it, where to sell it, and find the good quality product. Don't find Chinese cheap products, because yes, you might be selling those, but the profit margin on those is very low. Plus, it's a lot of headache. So buy and sell good quality products. Are the products difficult to buy locally? If you're drop shipping, I recommend to find a USA dropshipper, because dropshipping from China takes about 16 to 22 days to ship it, which is a very long time. People are used now to Amazon and they get their products almost the second day from them shipping. So if I order now something, I probably get it tomorrow or after tomorrow from Amazon. So if you find a local distributor or dropshipper, it's best, because the shipping is going to be easy. It's manageable. There's no time differences. It's easy to do returns, and it's easier just to deal with the local market distributors or dropshippers. The less competition, the best. That's well known in the market. I believe there's competition in pretty much every market, but as you can see, there isn't any much points in it. you can always differentiate yourself by the quality of the product, the shipping, the shipping, like how fast you can ship, the customer service, and of course the pricing. Pricing is everything. You just have to work on the pricing, and the cheaper it is, the better it is in selling. Because right now it's extremely easy for customers to price shop because they're literally doing it from their phone or from their laptop, and they can price shop in 5 minutes. It's not like they have to go from one store to the other like the old days, and they're, you know, they have to literally go to the storefront and do it. Now it's very easy to price shop, and I believe 70% to 80% of the customers who shop online, they do price shopping. The average product weight should be under 10 pounds. That's also a plus because it's easier to ship, it's easier to handle, it's cheaper to ship. And if you get customer returns, you're not overwhelmed with it, and you don't have to worry about like shipping it back to your warehouse or where you're shipping it from in an expensive way. If your product is, the target market of your product is females, that's a plus because females buy more. They make faster decisions in buying way more than us men. We usually price shop and think more than, take more time to make purchasing decisions. So ask those questions, and then if you get points between 0 and 20, that's not good. 20 and 30, that's fair. 30 to 39, good. And of course, above 40, it's going to be excellent. I'm going to talk about the Shopify plans now. Shopify has basically 5 plans. Actually 6. There's one here for the point of sale, which I didn't mention. The point of sale is basically for brick and mortar. So the first one is the light plan, which is $9 a month. It's basically, it allows you to have a buy button and use Shopify's checkout page. And you can use that buy button on blogs, on Facebook, on WordPress, and Square. Keep in mind that this is not going to give you a Shopify website per se. It's just more like a button that you add it on your blog. When a customer clicks on that button, they will be redirected to Shopify's checkout page, and they can buy it, and you get the money from Shopify. So this is just a button. The basic package of Shopify, which most of the customers are on it, is $29 a month. It gives you a lot of functionality. The difference between the basic package, the Shopify, and the Shopify Professional, which is the $79 package, and the $299 package, is mostly 2 things. The first thing is the shipping rates that you get from FedEx, USPS, and UPS, and the payment gateway fees, which is going to be cheaper as you pay more for Shopify, plus the reporting, which I don't think you really need much reporting if you're starting a business. You will get the basic reporting, like how much sales are you doing, where people are coming from, which is the top referral site, Google, Facebook, etc. So I always recommend for my customers to go with the $29 package and always upgrade. With the $29 package, their payment gateway fees, if you want to use Shopify payments, is 2.9% plus 30 cents at transaction. So if you're paying $100 for an item, Shopify will take 2.9% of that, which is $2.90 plus 30 cents for the transaction. The difference between the basic and the Shopify is literally just the payment gateway fees, which is 2.6% here instead of 2.9%, plus you get the live shipping rate from UPS and FedEx. So you can plug in your account with FedEx and UPS, so your customers can get the live rates from them based on the weight. For the Shopify Advanced or Shopify Professional, it's $299 a month. It's 2.4% payment gateway fees. You get also the shipping, the real-time shipping carrier, plus they have more reporting tools. So in my own opinion, if you're doing over $100,000 on your Shopify website, I would probably go with the $299. You've got the ultimate package of Shopify Plus, which it's $2,000 a month. It's 2.1% payment gateway fees, and this is the only package that allows you to customize the checkout page on Shopify. A lot of customers, they want to customize the checkout page, but with the other plans, they cannot. Only Shopify Plus will allow you. They have 24/7 VIP support. And I honestly think it's a little bit overrated unless you're doing over $1 million. Because if you're doing over $1 million, the 0.5% difference between the advanced and this will technically cover the $2,000 a month. Okay. This is the customer journey of any store, of how they, how you can engage them. So you start with the awareness, which, let's say you show an ad on Facebook, and then they engage by clicking the ad. Then you push them to subscribe with, for example, a 10% discount, or they can, which basically for this one, you will save it and it will end here. And once, if they want to continue, they can convert, and like technically buy and get, and then you can excite them. And then for the 6, 7, and 8, it's mostly after the transaction is done, because, like, for example, for the promotion, it's basically email, sending them emails, or like sending them 10% discount, or maybe showing a different ad on their website. So that's how the customer journey, like, that's the value of the customer journey. And this is pretty much it for the day. Do you guys have any questions?
I'm going to jump in and just ask you one thing. First of all, thank you very much. It's really fabulous information. And please, make sure we have, I think I have all your contact information, but for anybody who's interested in talking to you about their own particular situation, I want them to reach out directly to you. But one thing I did want to cover, Mo, that some of our students are really offering a service as opposed to a product. But they are selling. I just wonder if you had any comments about using Shopify for services as opposed to products.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. As long as they're asking their customers to pay online, it doesn't matter. You can use Shopify for sure.
Okay.
And you can customize it the way you want. For example, let's say you're offering consultation, and you want to add a calendar on the website where your customers can choose which item, which date they want to book you, for example. You can do that. There's a way to always customize the website to work the way you want based on your processes and business rules.
Okay. I'm going to ask Will Pressler to comment. Will sells a service. And Will, I wonder if you had any questions that were germane to your situation. Maybe not. Okay, well, we'll let that one go. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he sells a real estate service. He sells drone video for listing houses and to real estate agents all around the area.
Oh, the best way to do this is basically create packages, like different packages, and each package has certain features. Like, for example, package 1 will have maybe like a video, like a 1-minute video, and then maybe package 2 like 5 minutes video, and then package 3 is 10 minutes video, and each package has more features. And then technically, this is technically a product. So package 1, package 2, package 3, the customer will come to the website. They can choose which package they want, add it to cart, checkout, and done.
Gotcha. I'm going to ask Ashley Nolan, who is an artist and is using Shopify, just relatively new to it, I believe. Ashley, do you have any comments about your experience with Shopify that Mo can help you with?
Well, as you were talking about videos and stuff, I've been on Shopify for, I think, a little over a year now, or close to a year. And I really love it. I love the platform. I love the customization of it and all the analytics and things like that. I haven't gotten the analytic thing that shows you all of the demographics and salaries and stuff like that you were talking about. So I'm definitely going to be looking into that, because the main way I've been driving sales to the website is through social media, and each social media has different demographics. And even though those people are always, following me on the social media, they're not always the ones that buy. So also another thing, when you were talking about videos and reviews, like I love that idea. And I have like sort of a small ambassadorship program that I've been working through social media. And I was thinking like it'd be really cool to be able to add reviews from those people or customers to the website. And I was wondering if there's like an easier way to do that. I haven't looked into it a whole lot, so it might.
For reviews, that's a great question. You have to have a plugin for reviews. To be honest with you, the Shopify default reviews app is really bad. That's the bottom line. And it's not Google Aggregate. What Google Aggregate means is Google will read it and they will show it on the search engine when somebody searches for something. So when somebody searches for something, like when you search sometimes on Google, you'll see that Google will show you the stars of that particular company, right? Mm-hmm. That's called Google Aggregate. And Shopify's review system is not Google Aggregate. So you might need to use something like Yotpo or Trustpilot or some of the apps that's out there. Some of them are pretty expensive, by the way, like maybe $100 a month, believe it or not. Some of them, like Trustpilot, is $250 a month. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't recommend using that unless your store is up and running and doing sales. If you're still low on sales, like if you're doing maybe $1,000 a month, then it doesn't make sense to add it.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. For a shop that brings in maybe like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month, how much would you recommend investing in like online ads and stuff like that?
10 to 20%.
Okay.
10 to 20% of your sales should be going to advertising.
Okay, awesome. Because I've always...
But 8,000 a month, this is a good number. I mean, you can definitely grow it, multiply it by 3 if you start doing real advertising and good advertising.
All right, awesome. Thank you. That's all I can kind of think of right now, but I wrote down a lot of notes and that's a lot of good information. I've been adding a lot of different apps to the shop, and I know what someone had come talk to us through an interview telling us that, you know, the speed of the website is super important. So I need to look into that and make sure that these apps aren't bogging it down, because I've been adding things and just haven't.
You can check the speed on Google. Let me show you this website. It's called Google. So if you go to just Google, if you click on this, you see this page speed insights, and then put your website in here and click analyze. It will show you all the details about it and the speed.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
I'm going to ask Cameron. Cameron, if you had any questions or thoughts, you're a Shopify user and have been using it for a while and doing significant volume.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your time, Mo. This has been very insightful. I've definitely written down a ton of stuff to possibly add. I think pretty much everything that I wanted to know has been covered. I thought it was interesting. I think you mentioned 30% increase in conversion with the chat app. We're definitely looking into adding that. So I'm definitely going to check that out. But other than that, this is going to be available to look through, I'm assuming, Dennis?
Yeah. And right now we're scheduled for Mo to present again on Monday. We're going to double check, make sure that makes sense. But Mo is signed up as a mentor for our program along with our other mentors. So he's available. You know, obviously he's in this business, and you know, you may find yourself wanting to hire his firm, and that's fine. I'm not promoting anybody in particular, as you know, I can't. But keep in mind that Mo has signed up to be a mentor and to help. But you know, at the same time, I think if it's a way to get going, particularly in advance of this holiday season, it may make sense for you to deal directly with Webinopoly.
Awesome. Great. Well, I've got his contact info, and I'm definitely going to take a look again and be in touch, but thanks.
All right. Did anyone else have any questions or thoughts at this point for Mo? And please speak up or forever hold your peace, as they say, right? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. One more question about one of the apps I think you were talking about developing as far as the insurance plans and stuff like that.
Yes.
Most of the items I sell are, you know, crystals. So they could be breakable, but I haven't had very many issues with those. And then the jewelry right now is pretty much all one of a kind. And I never really have any issues with anything breaking. But as far
That's
as,
great.
yeah, the insurance thing, like maybe out of 500 orders or something like that, I maybe have had, you know, 2% or 1%, like very small. And so I was wondering with the insurance thing you were talking about, when are you thinking that's going to be available for?
To be honest with you, we submitted it to the App Store on Shopify. So anytime they could be approving it. We're hoping next week, but it's called Insurify.
Okay.
So Insurify.
Okay.
Like this, NSURIFY. I recommend using it. Why? Because it's technically free money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just asking the customer at the end. It's like the warranty when you go to Amazon or eBay and you want to buy an iPhone, they ask you, would you like to add warranty on it? I guarantee you probably 1% of those people will use that warranty.
Definitely, because a lot of the pieces are very expensive, so people might be willing to, you know, put $1 or $2 onto that.
Exactly.
There's one more thing, like I added something to the website where people can actually tip me. Like it's just an addition to the order. How do you feel about that kind of stuff? Like
tipping is good. Yeah, we do it we do it a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're getting tips, that's great. If not, it's perfectly fine too. I mean,
Mo, one thing I would ask you, if you could send us a list of your apps. You mentioned you have a bunch of apps. Might be helpful to the group to know what they are.
We have an app it's a private app. It connects Shopify with Square Payments.
Okay.
We have over 1,000 users on it, 1,000 merchants. It's technically most of the merchants who are selling vape and CBD use it.
Okay.
The reason behind that is Shopify Payments will not approve CBD and vape, and that as you know, it's not legalized in all the United States yet. There's no law for that yet. So big companies like PayPal and Shopify and Stripe and Authorize.net, they stay away from that because they don't want to get sued. For some reason, last year, Square were able to allow merchants to start doing this, and they're approving merchants. So anybody who wants to sell vape online on a Shopify website, for example, and they have Square as a payment gateway, they have to come through us. I believe it's 1 out of 2 in the United States. They have to come to us first. They have to pass by us one way or the other.
Okay.
And the app is technically a hack for Shopify's checkout page.
Okay, good to know. Any other questions from anybody in the class at this point?
I see somebody who is White Farms.
Yeah.
Are they selling like plants online?
So we have a retail establishment here locally, and we do direct customer sales. However, I was obviously listening to this whole presentation, and I know some farms do.
Do you know planting tree since you're on North?
No, we do produce.
Oh, you do produce?
Yeah, so strawberries.
We built this website for planting tree. Take a look at what they do. They're in North Carolina, by the way.
Oh, cool.
They do over 15 million in sales just online, believe it or not.
And their expertise is what?
They sell like trees and flowers, and check their website. They sell a lot of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we're up for pretty much anything, to be honest with you. But we we don't do trees and shrubbery. We do annuals and perennials, which are the smaller type of plants. And honestly, I know you talked about price point. And I mean, unfortunately, good, bad, or indifferent, however you look at it, our average ticket is not very high. We just have a lot of turns. So I'm trying to figure out, would this be something that we could, explore?
Got it. Yep, take a look at it, because we also created for this custom area. If you look at it on my screen, it's called the growing zone. So for example, I'm in Houston right now. It automatically calculates the growing zone for me, which is 10A. So if I'm looking at any of the plants, if it doesn't belong to growing zone 10A, it will tell me. So let's say I'm looking at this pear tree. This pear tree will show you which growing zone it shows under, right? So this is between 5 and 8. So technically it's not gonna work here in Houston.
Right.
This basically increased his returns, believe it or not, actually decreased his returns by about 40%, because people were just ordering without even looking at that. But now, since they know their growing zone and they compare it with the product, they can say, well, okay, this is 10A, I'm on 10A zone, and this is 5-8. So this plant will not grow here in Houston, so they won't buy it.
Right. Yeah.
So stuff like that, there's small store that makes a difference with the customer experience.
Fantastic. Any other thoughts or questions at this point? Okay. Well, Mo, thank you very much. And I'm sorry, did someone have something?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Ashley. Go ahead.
One question. So some of the items that I sell are, obviously one of a kind. They're very expensive. Like, some of them are $200, $250 a piece. So it's harder for a lot of my usual customers to be able to afford that. So in the past, I've done like outside of the website, kind of like a payment plan sort of thing, just to kind of get them in, because some of them will be new customers and I don't want to lose the opportunity for them to get that piece if that's anyways, so I don't lose out on that sale. And I've looked into payment plans and options because I've seen them on some other websites that I've seen, but I don't know if they're necessarily Shopify.
They are. There's few companies. There's one called Pay Tomorrow. There's one called Sezzle, Sezzle. Sezzle is well known. There's few out there that you don't have to really, and you can integrate it with your Shopify, and they just apply with them as if it's a bank, and then they pay them automatically.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I definitely have been wanting to look into that, but I just wasn't.
There's one called Afterpay also.
Okay.
Afterpay. Yeah, Afterpay.
Yeah, because just by
all of these, you can customize it.
Okay. Awesome, because I've found that I've gained a lot of repeat customers and stuff just by providing that payment plan for something that they couldn't afford straight up, but when they could pay over time, they continued. So yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to be able to add that to the website because the hassle of having to deal with it outside of it has just been kind of a pain, and people maybe not even know about those options.
Yeah, we have Sezzle. I think on this website we've got Sezzle installed. Yep, it's right there. You see this? This is the warranty, and then on the checkout, it's going to ask them if Affirm. There's also one called Affirm. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
So you have Sezzle, Affirm, and Afterpay.
And is there one that you would recommend? Maybe that
Affirm is a pretty good one. Yeah, Affirm is a really good one.
Okay.
So you just have to sign up with them and then integrate it into your Shopify store.
And is that a very difficult process, or?
Just contact me. I'll help you out with that.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
So it's just a code. They give it to you, and then we just have to put it on the website in certain areas.
Well, Mo, I think that we could probably go all day with these questions as folks get more and more comfortable. But I'm gonna bring it to a close because I know you're busy, and really thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. And I'll be in touch with you after this.
What do for Monday? Let's find out what kind of like subjects would the folks want us, want me to talk or cover at least.
Yeah.
What do you guys like?
I'll connect with you on that.
Okay.
Offline. But thank you very much for your time and effort. It's really fabulous. Great job.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.